Okay, man. I'm gonna try to give you a quick little primer on how to do the punch down. So here is your punch down tool. I know you've got one. It probably looks a little different than mine, but there's usually two. There may be more, but the only two that I ever use are two types of blades. There's the 66 blade, which is kind of hollow on the inside. And then there's the 110 blade, which is the one you're going to be using, is the 110 blade. So make sure that's what you've got. And the way these goes in these punch down tools is the blade should only go in one way. And that's so that you know which side is the cutting side. Like sometimes you'll have blades that aren't cutting, they're just to punch down, but you want to use the one that's got the cutting side. So I don't know if you can see on this tool here, but it has a little scissors there. So the red side of my punch down is the cutting side. So that way you always know. Like I said, the blade's only going to go in one way. It won't let you put it in where the cutting side won't be on that side. So you always know that that's the cutting side, and that's going to be important here in a minute when I show you what's going on. When you're using your cable, I've got these special scissors for cutting cable, but you can do it with a knife, or if you do it with a knife, be more careful, or you can do it just with regular scissors. But you just kind of get a couple of inches of slack, and just barely put any resistance on the cable, and it'll to get around the sheathing, depending on how sharp your scissors are. Mine are getting a little dull. Those are scissors for cutting stuff. But if you just score the outside of the sheathing, then you can twist it off. So, and you want to do that so you don't accidentally cut through the cable. You just want to score the outside of this sheathing, and then like you saw me just twist it off. So it's not like a clean cut, just twists off. If you need more cable, if you cut it up here or whatever, and you figure out that you need more cable, you can use this to pull and get more cable. That's exactly what it's actually designed for, is for you to peel back and get more cable like that. Okay, but because you're working with cables that are already in the wall, what you want to be careful to do is to use the least amount of cable that you can. Sometimes when they make those runs in the wall, they'll make them just long enough so you really won't have much stuff to work with, and every time you punch it down, it'll get shorter and shorter. You'll have less to work with. So do yourself a favor and pull the cable out of the wall kind of as much as you can, but only use as much as you absolutely feel like you need to. So usually when you're doing these punch downs, you only need a couple of inches of stuff. So I'll just cut this excess off. So when you got the cable open, this is Cat 5e. If you have Cat 5.6, it'll actually have more twists in it. That's really the only difference in the Cat 5s and the Cat 6s and even the Cat 3s, is how many twists are in the pair, because it's twisted pair cable. And if you can see in here, the way this works is there's a blue pair, a blue and a white, an orange and a white. Now take that back. This is the blue and the white. This is a brown and a white, orange and a white, and then a green and a white. So you have blue, orange, green, and brown. And that's usually, like, if you're doing telecommunications, that's the order you do them in. But the only thing that's important to you is to know that they're a pair of cables. And you want to kind of leave them paired up so that you know what's what. Because sometimes, depending on the kind of cable you got, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the difference between, like, the orange and the brown, right? And they have to be the same on both sides so that this works. So anyway, so I just usually kind of open up the pairs a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on there. But then I got the exact same connectors that I sent you, so this would be easier for me to show you on here. If you look at the side of it, there's two pairs that go on each side. So there's an orange and a green that go on this side, and the blue and the brown that go on this side. Now the bottom is the B cabling. There's different standards. The bottom is the B, the top is the A. Top is the A, bottom is the B. You want to do B all the time. Why that is, I don't exactly know, but that's the standard. The only thing that you run into every once in a while, somebody will do something other than B, they'll do A, but everybody, AT&T, all the standard is to B. So the important thing to know is if you're doing B on one end, you have to do B on the other side, because as you see, it reverses the pairs. Like the B is here, orange is here on the B, and then orange is here on the A. So you just want to make sure you got it on the right pairs. So this part is pretty straightforward. You take your cables. So you've got the green and the orange here, and you kind of separate the green and the orange. So you want them together, so you know they're kind of going to the same side. And then, let's see, do I have the green and the orange? The light in here is not great. I apologize. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so I got the green and the orange. And then you want the B, right? Remember to do the B. And so that's going to go in here like this. You got the orange and the white. Just kind of push it in there with your thumb for right now, and just leave that stuff hanging out. Make sure you're doing the B one, and then you've got the green and the white. Just make sure you got the pairs going the right way. Green, green, white, orange, orange, white. So those are right there. So that goes in there like that. It's going to be a little tougher for you because the cables are already in the wall and you have to work with that. So try to give yourself, like I said, as much slack out of the wall as you can, and then push it back in the wall when you're done. But try not to cut it too short, because then you'll end up having to run another cable. So on this side, again, the blue, the B, which is what we want to do, is the bottom ones. So you want brown and blue, but you see on this side it doesn't matter. They're both on the A and the B are both the same. The only where they roll the pairs is on the white. I'm sorry, is on the other side. So, but anyway, so we want brown and blue, right? So the solid brown goes to the solid brown, and the brown white goes to the brown white. And then the blue, blue, white. And at this point, you just want to kind of shove them down with your fingers so they're going to stay in there. You want to make sure they stay in those slots. They're not down in there yet, but they're just in the slots. And then this is where your tool comes in. Now remember, like we said, there's the red side on mine is the cutting side. Yours may be a different color, but they are always color coded that I've ever seen, so that you know which is the cutting side. And you want the cutting side out, because you want to cut this excess stuff off. If you cut it on the inside, you'll have to pull the stuff back up and re-terminate it. So make sure you don't cut on the inside. You want to cut like that. You want to cut on the outside. So the best thing to do is to put it down on something hard, something stiff, and then you just punch it down. And just go 1 and 2. So as you go through, it punches it down, and the cable goes in the little hole. See these that are punched down? You can kind of see the little connectors down in there. Let's see, so, and it cuts it off. So like I said, just make sure you got the cutting side out. And you'll end up with these little ends of the wire. Just pay attention to which side you've got the blade on, so you can see what's going on there. And even sometimes it doesn't, or usually it doesn't cut like straight through the wire, and you just have to give it a little wiggle. But just wiggle it from side to side, not up and down, because you don't want to pull it out. So side to side. And then you'll see these are all the way down now. When before, I didn't really show you this, but before when I pushed them down, they would be like halfway, or they'd be up here. But now the wires are all the way down to the bottom. And it just, those little blades inside there just cut through the sheeting, and then you get all that stuff going on there. And so basically that's your jack that's going to go in the wall. That's done now. I didn't get a faceplate because I had a bunch of faceplates and I didn't really need any, and I didn't bother getting any out of the car or the garage. But the way, if you see this, it's labeled, it says Cat 5. This actually is a Cat 6 jack, but it shows Cat 6. That's the way it usually is going to go in the wall. So it's going to go in the wall like that with a little tab for the Ethernet at the bottom. And if when you put it in the faceplate like this, you usually go into the bottom and you push it up like that, and it'll snap into that little faceplate with this little tab that kind of goes up and down. It snaps into the faceplate. If for whatever reason you need to take it back out of the faceplate or something, all you do is take the faceplate and then push like a screwdriver here at the top to take the tension off of it, and then you pull it back out like that. But just remember, you got to kind of cantilever it in there, and it'll go in there in the wall. And basically that's it. I can't think of any other stuff to tell you to do, because that's basically it. Now, the stuff that's going to go downstairs might be a little different, but the labeling should all be the same. Just remember, you want B on both sides. So usually there'll be an A and a B section. So this one, like I said, this side, it's A and B are exactly the same. But on this side, and depending on how it's punched down on the other side, A and B are different, or on the opposite side. So just remember, you want B on both sides, and that'll keep you straight. All right, man. Hope that helps.